Hello and welcome to the Dad Strength Podcast. I am your host, Richie Leahey. Today, we're going to be talking about the new segment on the Dad Strength website. So we broke apart and we started a website, dadstrength.us. We used to be hosted by Socially Numb, which was broken apart into 3 different sites. Socially Numb is where I go ahead and talk technology. I've had interest in other people being a part of the Dad Strength podcast. And so I went ahead and broke that apart too to prepare. And then I went and broke the sports segment out of Socially Numb as well. And that is now Southbound Sports. So I've been toying around with expanding the podcast into different segments. And what I did last week was I went ahead and added video, and I included the audio of the video in the podcast. And I've actually done that for, I think, 2 weeks in a row. And so Dad Strength has been moved around as we've moved sites and as we've moved forward. So now I got some feedback, heard it pretty loud and clear that listeners do not like that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to break those completely apart. I want people to be able to get as most out of this as possible. And so the Dad Strength website is still going to be up. It's a blog I run. I'm looking at expanding the posts. Now that we have our own site, I'm probably going to go back through and expand and write a post for each of the previous articles throughout the month of February. And my goal is by the end of February to have everything up and running smoothly for the Dad Strength website. Also with the new segment I brought apart now that we have our own site. I've done it before on some other sites, and what I wanted to do was have some more participation from the audience, just from listeners, and that way they can go ahead and give their feedback. I did change the commenting system. It still hasn't been used to my knowledge. I guess I haven't really checked. I don't know if I get alerts. So I've been trying to pay attention, but I haven't checked it all too often. But maybe that will happen once I start expanding some posts. And I set up the ranking system to help encourage people to listen to the show and give some feedback. I have received some calls for feedback, and I think I have the number on the Dad Strength contact form. So I have a form set up now with Google Forms. So if you have any feedback or questions, or if you want to just have a question and have me answered on the podcast, go ahead and send it in. If you want to ask the question audioly, if that's a word, through audio, go ahead and leave a voicemail. Call the number. It's a Pittsburgh-based number. So it's through Google Voice is what I use. So basically I have all my email and business stuff for the site set up through Google. So that's what my contact and the Google Voice number is set up through. So go ahead, give us a call, give the feedback. We'll play it on the show and anything like that. So that's the idea behind it. I was just looking for more audience participation. The videos I put up, I did have the full show up. They weren't getting listened to either. And so I took them down. And so now what I'm going to do is the YouTube channel for the show is going to be a supplement. Some of the stuff that's on there are short videos that can be used as a supplement for the show. I'm not reusing the audio for the podcast. The podcast is going to be a standalone thing. And sorry if you were offended by me switching it up. I was just trying to get more content on the site on more different avenues. I thought I was going to go ahead and just record me doing the podcast and do like a live stream. But I don't know if that would work either. Maybe I could do a Periscope show or something, but I'm still looking into the equipment needed. I figured the YouTube videos would be a little bit easier, and I would go ahead and use the content in both areas. But people like the podcast to be a little bit more personal, and so I'm going to go ahead and bring that back. So if you have any other listener feedback, please let me know. I just wanted to address that at the front of this episode. The videos, yes, are still being made. No, the podcast is no longer on YouTube. SoundCloud is another one. They have a limit on how many episodes you can put up there. So I haven't been putting the new episodes up. I get a lot of comments through SoundCloud, and I'm pretty sure they're all spam. So if you sent me a contact or contacted me through there, go to dadstrength.us and click contact. I think it's in the top right, and fill out the Google form and send me some feedback there, because my SoundCloud got overrun with spam. And as I delete older episodes, I lose likes and play counts and other stuff. I believe it's been a headache. So I think what's going to happen is SoundCloud is going to have even more additional content, just kind of like a greatest hits place where you can go ahead and put it up and listen to parts of the show that might be beneficial. Maybe I could put the question and answer stuff there. So go ahead and check that out. Probably going to be bringing in some of those. I think what I'll do is at the end of this month, once the site's up, is do some question and answer type feedback things and answer some questions that I receive and do them on the show. And then that will be more of the podcast. I'm still going to talk a little bit about the ranking stuff, some of the topics that I cover that are pertinent to dad. So if you have a question, you can leave feedback on the YouTube channel too, and I'll probably address it here on the podcast if people have questions or comments that are relevant. So today, our first episode back, it's going to go along with the video. So just so that it's clear, there is a video on the same topic, but the content would be different, because I have like a bullet list of notes that I'm going over for the videos, and for the podcast itself, I have a different list. So it might be a little bit different just because of the format. On the video, I'm trying to keep all the videos within a certain time limit. And then here on the podcast, I don't have such limit, even though I've been trying to keep them down because we've had more success if they're about 15, 20 minutes. So that's up there. That will be launching on Fridays as well. Both will launch the same day, and there should be an accompanying blog post. Right now, they've been pretty sparse. This month, I'm going to be working on going back through and filling them out. So be patient with me there. My goal is to have them up by the end of February, and we'll see if that happens, because I'm still working on getting some other formatting and style sheets and things up and running on the site to make the site more presentable. So any feedback you give there, please let me know. I'll try to accommodate. Our ranking list today, what I talked about, was diapers. Now, I only focused on disposable diapers, and I'll tell you why, because it gives into a pretty heated debate. I know some other parents, some friends of ours, only use cloth diapers. They're reusable. They're better for the environment. And to me, that's just a bigger headache. As a parent, you have a lot of things going on. Your sleep schedule's messed up. You're doing laundry and things, but you want to kind of do them at your own pace. So when I look at essential items, I feel like disposable diapers should be one of the highest items on our list. Is it going to be? I don't know. And it might take some time to build up and get a handful of votes. I don't even know how many votes we've received so far. But as the site gets put together more, and I start to push them out more on social media and stuff, and I set up a Facebook page for my podcast, if it's just Richie Leahey. Actually, I don't even know if it has a custom URL. That might be my personal one. I don't know. But anyway, that's all set up. And so it's going to be interesting once we get some votes in, once we do this for a while. But disposable diapers, to me, that's an essential item. I know the one thing that hurts me, pains me, is that they're so costly. And yeah, it's a cost that as a parent you have to make, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt every time I have to go and order another box of diapers. I get the biggest box possible, and sometimes I order them, sometimes I pick them up at the store, look for coupons. I'll tell you, most of the reward programs that they have are pretty much garbage. They're not worth it. So if you see that they're having reward programs, actually, I think we did get one item. I think it was a tablet, and then our daughter broke it, and then I think they sent us another one. So I think we actually have 2 tablets, because I opened it up using my dad's strength, and I fixed it because I know how to put together things. And that's actually one of the items that I did have on the docket to bring in and talk about. is how dads have to know how to like solder electronics or like put things together now. It's not like back in our parents' day where the dad just needed a set of tools and he was like building chairs or wooden doll houses or whatever. Now everything's like small and electronic. You have to kind of know the ins and outs of some of that stuff if you want to be a parent. Otherwise, you're going to absorb a bunch of just random costs that you really don't want to, because it's like, wow, I didn't realize this was that expensive, or whatever, vice versa. But that's what we're looking at. That's what I looked at this week, was just disposable diapers. And the cloth diapers, man, it's going to be so much more cleanup, so much more work as a parent, because you have the cloth diapers. If you're traveling, then that's super hard. I mean, you're going to have to carry cloth diapers on you. And when your child starts to eat real foods, man, some of those diapers stink. So if you have a cloth diaper, you're going to carry that with you. I mean, I have a truck, so it's probably cool for me. If I was doing it, I could throw a dirty diaper in the bed of my truck. No big deal. But some people have cars. Like, I don't know if I'd want that in the trunk of my car. I think most car trunks are lined with some type of cloth, and the only thing that's blocking the smell is the back seat, which is just foam. That folds down in some instances, at least it used to. I think they all do now. So that folds down, so that smell, if that gets into the carpet back there, man, you're done. Your whole car stinks. So that's why I prefer disposable diapers. I do know some people that mix them up. So at home, they use the cloth diapers. And then they have a bag that's a to-go bag, an emergency type bag that has the traditional diapers. And I would say a hybrid approach probably is the best option if you want to go that route. We didn't go that route. I got in the habit. I'm pretty quick changing the disposable diapers. Our daughter actually went on the toilet a few times already. She's only one. So if she keeps that up, hopefully we can get her out of diapers sooner rather than later, and then we won't have to worry about it anymore. But cloth diapers at home, I could see why that would be good. Now, I've looked into it, just doing some research here for the site, and I think you may have to buy some type of lining, so you're still going to have a cost with them. But I know the absorbent cloth diapers, actually, so like I don't know what part. I'd guess if you're washing the inside liners, because I have used them, and they are quite absorbent, because I use them to clean albums, records. I'm not even that old, but my mom gave me a bunch of her old albums that were dirty, that were like thrown in our attic. And so I went through, got a bunch of cloth diapers, put some Dawn dish soap on them, and then set the album on it. And the Dawn would pull the grease out, at least in theory. It did darken it, so it was cleaning them, even though the album was just sitting on top of a cloth. But that concoction pulled out a bunch of dirt and cleaned them, and then a bunch of her albums played great. So it absorbed like the dirt from a physical vinyl album. So I thought that was pretty cool, and that's pretty much all I've used them for. So I have seen reusable diapers, the cloth diapers, but I haven't actually used them on a child. I have seen their absorbency, but I just don't know how much of a cost that's going to be. And I mean, that's the debate right there. Which one's more essential? Maybe, because if a bunch of people vote disposable diapers up, and yet another contingent votes it down, then it could be the most controversial item on the list. Diapers, if we have the same thing happening, people voting the other one down, whatever one they don't like. Or maybe most people will just vote it up because that is an essential item as your child's born. You need the diapers. You need to be able to change your kid. It's very easy to carry them with you, and that's the way it goes. So that's it for this week. A little bit talk on the site and things, more of a inside look of what's going on, and probably a little bit more laid back and personal view on the podcast, which is what people have requested. So hopefully that works out. Tell some friends if you like it. This will be the show if you want a shorter version, because the show might get a little bit longer as we go and as the site expands. But if you want a shorter version, check out our YouTube channel. And so I'm putting both out there, delivering the content out. I'm just adding the content so that we have it on the site. So check out our site, dadstrength.us. Go to the rankings tab. Disposable diapers, vote them up or down if you think they're essential as a parent. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Richie Leahey.